Are you ready to unlock your full potential and maximize your productivity? Look no further than Productivity Smarts, the ultimate audio podcast hosted by renowned productivity expert Gerald J. Leonard. In every episode, Gerald shares captivating stories, invaluable tips, and cutting-edge strategies that will transform the way you approach productivity. Whether you're looking to reduce stress, overcome overwhelm, or simply get more done in less time, Productivity Smarts has got you covered. But that's not all. You'll also gain inspiration from real-life success stories of individuals who have achieved greatness through productivity. Plus, you'll learn the latest tools, techniques, and habits that will help you achieve a new level of happiness and fulfillment in your personal and professional life. So why wait? Join us every week as we delve into the exciting world of productivity and help you unleash your full potential. Get ready to take your productivity to the next level with Productivity Smarts. As a productivity expert and host of the Productivity Smarts podcast, Gerald J. Leonard has been a proud supporter of Kiva since 2011. Kiva is a non-profit organization that helps entrepreneurs in third world countries access the capital they need to start or grow their businesses. By making a small loan through Kiva, you can help these entrepreneurs achieve their dreams, support their families, and contribute to their local economies. And with a repayment rate of over 96%, your loan can be re-lent to another entrepreneur once it's repaid, creating a ripple effect of positive change. So if you're looking for a meaningful way to make a difference in the world, consider making a loan through Kiva. With loans as small as $25, anyone can be a micro-lender and help change lives. Visit kiva.org to learn more and start lending today.
Well, today I'm speaking to Dr. Thomas Trautmann, a Ph.D. He blends brain science, ethical persuasion, and real-world business strategy to help leaders become unforgettable. Through his Make Me Great system, Thomas teaches professionals how to elevate others first, transform careers, companies, and impact. His work reshapes productivity into meaningful connections and lasting success. Dr. Trautmann, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. And yourself, Gerald?
I am doing very well and really happy to have you on the show. Thanks again for reaching out to me on LinkedIn and just to connect. And then I saw you had an amazing book called Make Me Great, and it piqued my interest. I bought it, I read it, and I said, I got to have this guy on my show.
Hey, here we are.
Well, listen, if you listen to any of the shows, and if you haven't, that's okay. I always ask a couple of questions because I am a musician, and that is, what is your favorite style of music?
Jazz, because I'm also I'm playing the saxophone.
Oh, there you go. I didn't pick that up on your profile, but that's awesome. So who is one of your favorite artists?
Oh, that's a good one. I was thinking about it today. I don't know why. I think Aaron Gardner has something special, not especially a sax player, but he has something that comes particularly nicely through. Then there is, on the other side of the spectrum, you have a group like the Scatolites who are completely nuts, but
right.
They sound like amateurs, but it's perfection.
Yeah. It's amazing. A friend of mine and someone I met who is a bassist who played with Victor Wooten, Anthony Wellington, he posted about Einstein, and he had a quote from Einstein that we all know Einstein from being the scientist, right? E equals MC squared and all those the scientific discoveries. But in his quote, he basically said that playing the violin was his greatest joy in life. And he was a violinist. And so I just find it fascinating that so many interesting, I'll put it that way, interesting or deep thinkers also have embraced music. So let me ask you, how did you get started? What attracted you to the field of neuroscience, productivity, and what has helped you to become successful at this point?
Many questions in one question.
Yeah, I know, right?
So what attracted me, I think I was part of the second wave of computer geeks. The first one was the Jobs.
Bill Gates.
Gates, thanks, all those guys. And then there was a second wave a few years later. I belonged to that second wave. So I started playing with computers when I was 16. And I found it very super interesting because programming and so on is, in fact, diving into the brain of someone else.
Yes.
Because we all have a way to think. And when you dive into a program, you have to correct something or improve something. You have to see how that person thought first to be able to go there. So that started my career. Then I was lucky enough to meet a professor during a master, because after my diploma, I went for a master in artificial intelligence and algorithmics. And one of the teachers, it's always something like that. You meet someone who is special.
Yes.
And that guy, out of all the teachers, all the professors, he had a way to explain artificial neural networks that made it absolutely fantastic. So I said, okay, let's keep going,
Yeah.
And again, I was lucky to meet a professor who wanted me to work with him on my Ph.D. thesis, which was about artificial neural networks, which is now what drives AI, by the way.
Exactly.
So that somehow, artificial neural networks are mathematical models that simulate parts of the brain. Somehow that was just a natural way to go. But then I went back to my career because I always wanted to found my own companies.
Yeah.
So I knew I needed a lot of bricks to build my wall.
Right.
So I was lucky enough to be in a company like HP at that time where you could switch functions easy. Not easy, but it was possible.
Right.
That's why I started marketing. I kept going on marketing. And then we started our first company with my wife that I met in another company. And we decided to go for motorcycle tours, high-end luxury motorcycle tours in Europe. And like everyone, who starts a company, after a few months, you sit in front of your bank account and you see that the money is flat. In medicine, I would say you are dead.
Flat line.
Yeah, flat line. Yeah, exactly. And I say, okay, we have the potential to do something fantastic. The few clients we had were super happy. So what should we do? And at the same time, there was a documentary about neuromarketing, which is the implementation of neuroscience into marketing and sales.
Right.
And at that time, we were living in France. And of course, in France, if you put brain and marketing in the same sentence, you are the devil. You're a very bad person. So the whole documentary was about how bad it was, how manipulative it was. But they were interviewing two guys who were two French guys who are now Americans for ages because they live in the US, and who founded the first neuromarketing agency.
Okay.
So I just kept that in mind. We tried a few things and we changed our communication, and our business grew by 400%. BMW came to us, BMW France, saying, we need you to help us get our people more on travels. Fantastic. So life kept going, other job, and got a CMO position. And on the German-speaking countries in Europe, so Switzerland, Germany, Austria, we only had 400 competitors. Only.
Oh, wow.
We needed to differentiate ourselves. I mean, it was so obvious, but everyone was doing the same thing. On one trade show, we were standing next to our biggest competitor in Switzerland. We were on the same booth. We shared the same space.
Yeah,
the only difference was the color of the carpet. We had blue, they had red, but the words on the wall, our USP, they were nearly the same. I think two words were not in the same position. So, and I did a bad trick to the founder of the company and to the big bosses. I showed them 5 USPs and asked them which one is ours. I think there were 3 or 4 people in the room. Everyone had a different USP, thinking it was ours. And ours was not even on the wall.
Oh, wow.
That's when we said we need to do something. And I called that neuromarketing company I was talking before.
Yes.
And I said, I need your help, guys. I read your book. It's super interesting. I need your help. So we did a project together. And while they were giving the workshop, I said, shit, that's what I want to do. So I became one of their partners for English, German, and French-speaking countries in Europe.
Okay.
I became a certified neuromarketing instructor and did that for a few years. But funny enough, each time I was giving a workshop, teaching people about neuromarketing, about that specific model they had developed.
Yes.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Neuromarketing is extremely powerful. It works. Yeah. It gives you 2-digit growth super easily. But I noticed that came out during a conversation with my wife. It's lacking humanity. Even though we are targeting the brain, we are lacking humanity.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'm stopping with that. I'm going to create my own model, which is called the Ethical Persuader, based on my ethical persuasion formula, where in fact, I still give workshops, I still give coaching, but when I give a workshop, people learn something for themselves first, and then they can implement it in their marketing, in their sales, in their HR department. So that's how it started. And it evolved until it became Make Me Great, because Make Me Great, that's when you want a decision from someone, that person's brain is shouting at you, make me great.
Right.
It's all about me. It's not about you. You should not talk about your products, your services, your brand, yourself. Talk about me, the decision maker's brain, which is even worse. So that's how the whole story started. And that's why Make Me Great exists now.
Excellent. It's a great story. And, it just shows how sometimes the thing that we tend to land on doesn't come to us right away. It's a discovery process, and you have to keep working through your journey. So wherever you are, as you're listening, wherever you are, you may not be there yet, but you keep working and you will know when you land upon that thing, that it, when you find that service or that solution or that product that is going to turn you on, that's going to help you grow your business and make an impact. And obviously you found yours with the concept of Make Me Great, because again, those three words, when I saw it, it just grabbed my attention. And it was the position of it. It was a subtitle. It was the cover of the book. It was your LinkedIn profile. It was all the things about you that said, okay, this guy's really interesting. I need to check this out. And so it was positioned in a way that I couldn't ignore. So, definitely you're onto something, because it grabbed what they would call system one and system two. It grabbed my system one. So non-consciously, I just went for it. And then I thought about it afterwards. This is system two.
And that's exactly how it's working in our brains.
Exactly. So let me ask you, your book covers core ideas that actually flips the focus, right? From, as a consultant or a business person, from yourself to the person you're talking to, the other person. How did that shift transform your own productivity and leadership? You kind of shared about it, but can you talk a little bit more about how, when you realized that by helping the other person elevate, it actually elevated your business more, but it really had a profound impact on the person you're trying to serve?
There are two examples I like to use, and they are not business related. Okay. It's really who you become when you use Make Me Great. So obviously I'm using it. I Make Me Great. Right. So the first example is, I was once traveling to Germany, in a part of northern Germany where no one goes on vacation. So when you get to the rental booth, the guy sees only business people walking by and taking rental cars. And I just paid attention to him. I just asked a few questions instead of just showing my driving license, my passport, pick up the key, get in the shuttle, and so on. And just asked him a few questions about who that person is. Genuinely, I wasn't expecting anything. And after the conversation, I wasn't in a hurry. In 5 minutes were not going to change the time I was going in the shower in the hotel. So I think we spent 20 minutes talking. And he shared about his vacations, his family, and so on. And when we're done, he said, "Do you know what, Mr. Trautmann, I'm going to give you grant your car, and the car is parked right in front of the door on the VIP parking. You don't need to take the shuttle." I didn't ask for it.
Wow.
It seems because I travel, I go often through airports. Last time I was in the airport, there was a sign. Yeah, there was a sign with an acronym. And there's that poor guy who was just directing us on the lanes, to go to the safety check.
Yes.
And I stop and I say, "What does that mean?" He says, "You know what, sir? I don't know. Let me ask someone from the safety gate." And yes, and that lady was super happy that we asked. I go through the VIP line. I had a fantastic chat with the young guy and with the lady, and we all had smiles. And I went through just in a few seconds while the other ones were making the queue. They want you to make them great. So just pay attention. And the same thing happens in business.
Yes, it is really important. And it is part of the law of reciprocity, right?
It's one of the laws, yes.
Yes, so that when we make someone else feel important, and one of the best ways you can make someone feel important is the things that you just explained, which is either one, we ask questions that get them to talk about themselves, and then we shut up and listen,
yes.
Right?
And it's interesting that you mentioned listen, because one of the things that I teach in Make Me Great is what I call silent listening. You should tell that little thing in your brain to shut up. You are telling me about your vacation, for example, and my brain goes, "Oh, I have to tell Gerard about the time I was in the US, Oh, I should tell him about when I rented that car, and blah, 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 blah." And I'm no more listening to you. So active listening is okay. I'm listening, I'm thinking, and no, but silent listening is silence, listen, write down, ask questions to him, but get that thing up there to shut up.
Yeah. It's kind of like what Stephen Covey talks about, which is You seek to understand and then to be understood. Because people can tell, right? When you are listening and then you respond, but you'll respond in a way where you're confirming that you understood what they just said. Then
Yeah.
they know. It's kind of like a waiter. It's like you giving your order to the waiter and the waiter writes it down and then they tell it back to you. You're going to have a much better time waiting for your meal than if the waiter just didn't write anything down and didn't acknowledge what you said. Now, they might have gotten it, but they didn't let you know that they got it. And so by letting the person know that you really understood them, it gives them this feeling of, wow, they really listened to me. They really made me feel important. So now I can make, I'm going to leave a bigger tip. I'm going to do something.
For example.
Exactly. It's a law of reciprocity, right? I know if a waiter is really great to me that way, I'm going to leave a bigger tip because it's like, oh, you made me feel really good about this meal. So that's awesome. So let me ask you this. What habits can professionals adopt today to make their work unforgettable with even in the first 11 seconds? You talk about that in your book of just making things happen. What are some of the habits people can develop today?
Yeah, the first thing is to understand who that brain in front of you is and what's driving the decisions. It's not people's fault. I mean, they were taught that way, right? Salespeople were taught that way, that, you should give your USP. You should make sure that they understand what your brand is about, what your products, what your services are. But you're not selling to a business also, you're selling to a human being.
Yes.
That human being, and you mentioned System 1 and System 2, that's from Daniel Kahneman, who, by the way, got a Nobel Prize on his research demonstrating how the human brain makes decisions. Right. And the decisions are made in System 1, which is the primal brain that we, at one stage, 10 years back, people were using to call it the reptile brain. Right. But scientists were a bit pissed. And the fact that the emotional, the limbic system is part of it, it's called the primal brain. And that primal brain is primal, as the name says, We make primal decisions that we rationalize, that System 2, that we rationalize afterwards. So in your audience, if you are listening, guys, when the last smartwatch you bought, or maybe the last dress or so, or whatever you bought, remember what happened. You bought it, and then while you're walking or driving, you are thinking, no, that's a good idea. I definitely need that smartwatch. Yes, because the fact that I have my heart rate all the time, that's so important, And you are rationalizing that stupid primal decision you made. Right. But those decisions, because they are primal, are driven by something called subconscious frustrations.
Yes.
That we have as humans. And that's the most difficult part that all of my clients have, is to understand that if I'm talking to another business owner, for example, they can rationally voice out the fact, yes, I want to grow my business. This year, we want to grow by 10 or 12%, for example.
Yes.
That's rational. If you tell them, oh, I can help you grow your business by 12%, you say, okay, cool. So what? No, but what drives the primal decision in the primal brain is that maybe they have that need to prove to their parents that they can make it. Or maybe they just want to prove that they are the biggest gorilla in the zoo, or that they want to protect their family, save their kids, no more divorce or stuff like that. I don't know. There are so many possibilities, but you have to understand who you are talking to and what their subconscious frustrations are.
Yes.
And if with the techniques I teach, I help you to show that I understand your primal decision in a few words, then the famous 11 seconds come from the fact that the brain makes a decision and then it rationalizes the decision to listen to me and to like me. Then I become unforgettable because I'm the guy who is addressing the subconscious frustration.
Right.
But that's where people get scared because Thomas, I'm never going to tell him about his divorce or his kids, No, I'm going to tell him about how many more contacts my CRM can handle,
Right.
The problem is that brain out there doesn't give a shit about how many contacts your CRM can make.
Right. They're thinking about the stuff that really means something to them, which is based on the primal brain. Yeah. It's really, really important. It's fascinating because we make some of the most critical decisions in a split second because of that primal brain. And then, like you said, we then will try to rationalize the logic of why we made the decision. And, we're good at faking ourselves out why we made a decision.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. We can bullshit ourselves all day long. And because we have that primal brain that stopped evolving, we are not sure yet, around 100,000, 50,000 years ago,
right.
It's still running the same processes as our ancestors who were living in caves.
Right.
So we changed the world. Our super rational brain, when we have the time to think, we do magnificent things. We have changed the world, but we still have that primal thing running. And up to now, we have identified close to 200 cognitive biases that drive our decisions.
Oh, wow.
Like the loss aversion. I say, Gerald, now you can get $2. If you wait 2 months, I'm going to give you $10. Guess what your brain wants? It wants $2 because I have the $2,
Right.
I don't know what's going on. And the primal brain doesn't know the future. It has no idea.
Right. It's like, I need a
second window.
Yeah.
So the past, it's stored somewhere, and the future, no idea that thing is existing.
But present is here. Yeah, let's go with that. So let me ask you this. How does understanding the why, as in your system, because you talk about the why in your system, help people make better productivity choices day to day?
The why is in the Make Me Great is the second thing, is the second step that you have to define is why are you doing what you are doing? Because again, the why is something human.
Yeah.
The what is your product. The how is how you create that product. But your why is going to give you some specific energy. You are going to resonate with people in front of you in a very different way.
Yeah.
I mean, when Steve Jobs didn't create iTunes and the iPod, his why was to be able to listen to the piece of music he wanted when he wanted. So how do you do that? You go to all the majors and you tell them, from now on, Apple is no more going to buy the disc. We are going to buy each piece of music. If you're not happy, I take my millions of customers and I go to the next major. That was how he did it. And the what was, we need a software to do that. That's iTunes, and a product that's iPod.
Right.
Did you know that, for example, Dell at the same time had the same type of product? No one remembers it because there was zero why. They said, he does it. We have production lines. We can do it. What's an MP3 player?
Right.
How? With our production lines. Why? Because there's a lot of money that we can make. They did the other way around. It didn't work. Simon Sinek demonstrates that in his book, Start With Why. I want people to have a why. Every person should have a why.
Yeah.
Why you do things. And it's very interesting. 90% of the time when I do the exercise, the people in the workshops that are following the training, when they work on their why, have a why that's very close to the why of the company. Because every company has a why from the founder of the company.
Yes.
And the people who are unhappy don't have a why that resonates.
That makes a lot of sense. It was interesting when we first jumped on the call earlier today, before we got started with the recording, you asked me, why did I start the Productivity Smarts podcast? And I shared, if you listen to the first episode, I'm not going to go back through it again, but if you listen to the first episode, I tell you my why I did it. But I noticed that I was pretty excited to talk to you. And after I shared my why, my energy just flew through the roof. And I was like, pumped and ready to go, and okay, you took me back to the root of why I started this, and it really energized me. And I just thought, wow, that's really important to constantly bring people back to their why, because it takes you to a different level of energy, right? And energy is life expression. It's an expression of who we are as people, as a being, as a human being. And it's our way of communicating and the impact that we have and so on. But I really appreciated you asking me my why and being able to kind of walk through that. Again, it just kind of brought everything back hey, this is why I'm doing this. This is why this is so important. This is why we're having this conversation today. So that was really, really cool. And I just thought it kind of really fit into what we were talking about as well. So let me ask you this. Can you share a story where someone applied your system and significantly upped their productivity or influence?
Yeah. I don't have the results because it's confidential in that company, but the comment was very interesting. It's a client who called me back 5 years later who said, Thomas, after 5 years, they forgot everything. please come back. I need you. And he had new sales guys and so on. And one sales guy was very, very interested. And so after the workshop, they went through some coaching to make sure that they were implementing.
Right.
And that guy, it took him, I think, 6 weeks to get the courage to try out what he learned. Because I'm telling them, as a sales guy, you just go in there and you ask a few questions and then you let them go. But the few questions, you have to ask very specific questions that are connected to subconscious frustration. You use a very specific time, blah, blah, blah. And on that coaching sessions, he says, yeah, Thomas, I have to tell you something. I went to that client, never met those clients before. I didn't talk about myself, about the company, about the products, about the service. I just asked the questions as you told me to do. And I listened. And at the end of the hour, they said, we're going to work with you because you care. It was amazing.
It's like I just asked some questions and listened. I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But again, people pick up on your energy when you listen. And one of the things I've learned as I shared my why with you through my journey was when we listen to people, it's like we're giving them a gift.
Yeah.
Right. We're giving them a gift and we're allowing them to express themselves in a way that, because many times in today's society, we walk by, how are you? How are you? We really don't want to know how you are. We're just saying it. We're just saying it because it's courteous. How are you? You don't want them to stop and go, how are you? Let me tell you how I really am. You don't want to hear that. You're like, that's why you just keep walking. How are you?
What you expect is that they say, good, and yourself. Yay, I can talk about myself.
I got through it. I said it. I can move on. But when you actually stop and ask, how are you? And then you look at them and wait. And you're like, oh, you really want to know how I am? Oh, okay, let me. And they start telling you, and you're listening, and you silently listen, or you engagingly listen. It does something to the brain. It does something to the brain that if you were just listening to probe for an answer, the brain wouldn't do. But because you're listening with the intent to understand, their brain begins to produce positive neurochemicals that make them bond to you.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating.
It is. And that, for example, my way is to get the world to smile, to make it a better place for our children. Because when I smile, when I do the nice smile with the little wrinkles here, which is called the Duchenne smile, by the way, I get a shoot of endorphin in my brain.
Yes.
So in fact, I'm giving myself drugs. And when I do it, you are smiling too. Right. And even if physically you're not smiling because of the theory of the mirror neurons, which means that my neurons light up and the same neurons light up in your brain, you get a shoot of endorphin.
Exactly.
So if we start smiling, I'm a free drug provider. I'm a happiness. So everyone's going to smile. And the more people smile, the happier the world will be. So that's my why I do things. And that's one thing. And the second thing is listening to people. Even if you're in the world of business, it's a human being in front of you.
Yes.
I haven't started a long time ago, because I need to go through my own journey and so on. But when you listen to the lives of people, you could write a book on every person you meet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everyone has an amazing story inside of it. Yeah, everyone has an amazing story. And in your experience, how does team alignment around purpose improves execution and reduce wasted effort when you have people taking into consideration the things that we're talking about, this building rapport, this mirror neuron concept, this idea of listening? What does that do for a team? What does that do for a team?
So, the team, that's another part of the Make Me Great system, which is the tribe.
Yeah.
Because with Make Me Great, you can increase your chances of incremental recurring business by 70%, because you use that societal structure that the human species is based on, which is a tribe.
Yeah.
We live in tribes. We cannot live on our own. Well, sometimes we need to be alone, but we cannot live alone. That's why, the guys who go through space, when they are alone, they are permanently connected with someone on the ground. They can talk with another human being, so that they don't go ballistic.
Oh, yeah.
So a team is a tribe. So as long as you have a tribe leader that nurtures the tribe, and that tribe has the same values, well, you can go wherever you want. But you have to nurture them, which is you have to give them. Because if I'm part of your tribe, okay, if I'm following Gerald, I want Gerald to give me stuff. I don't want you to give me money, so I want you to give me value, that you share your why, for example. That's one thing. And because you have that why, you have many things to tell me. And that's how you're going to nurture me. So we become a tribe, and that tribe moves faster forward. And when you have managers who are able to build tribes, you can see it. The groups that are moving forward have a tribe structure, tribe structure, the ones who are just, where everyone does his own thing, there is no tribe. They try to create those sub-tribes or so, and it stinks.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, this has been a fascinating conversation. And, if this resonates with you as you're listening, then you have to pick up the book, Make Me Great. It is a fascinating read. It's based on science. It's based on neuroscience, which I love when I read books that are based on neuroscience, because it's based on how we actually operate as human beings. And if we understand how we operate and we implement these principles and things that we're discussing today, they can transform your life. They can transform your customers or your family's life or your tribe's lives. And so it's really fascinating. So let me ask you this last question before we end here, and that is, what's one actionable productivity tool or mindset you would recommend for someone trying to balance structure and for inspiration? What's one thing they could do right now to balance that?
It's when you explain it, it's super simple, but it's one of the most complex things to do, is that I call that use the you language.
Okay.
The next time you write an email, instead of saying, "Dear Gerald, I'm writing you this email because I wanted you to la 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 la." No, dear Gerald, you received this email because you are going to learn something. You. Do that on your emails, do that on your calls, do that on your conversations. Of course, when someone knows you well enough, you can talk about yourself, because at one stage you will need to share your why, who you are, stuff like that. But when you start something with someone, use the you language. I mean, if you look at, you mentioned my LinkedIn profile, I don't talk about myself. The first part of my profile is all about you.
Yes.
There is, of course, the usual sentence, I help, but I help you, business owners, to become unforgettable in 11 seconds. Here is a testimonial of someone like you. Here's a book for you. Here's an article for you. It's all about you. So try to use the you language. It's a super powerful tool. It's the first step to get them to say, shit, he cares about me.
Right, because you're focused on the you, or the person who's reading it, which is the you. That's excellent. Where can people learn about you?
Well, as said, they can find me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'm the only Thomas Trautmann who has no hair but has a brain beside him. Or you can contact me on my website, which is happy-brains.com.
Yeah.
And for Make Me Great, you go on make-me-great.com, and you can learn more about the system.
Yeah. And you can get this book on Amazon or any bookstore. Dr. Thomas, this has been a fascinating conversation. I have enjoyed our time together, and we'll definitely get this out as quick as possible so that people can learn from you, and with all the links and all the information. And it's just been a really blast having you on the Productivity Smarts podcast. And thank you again for being our guest.
Thanks for the invitation. I really enjoyed the conversation.
If you're enjoying the content and finding it valuable, we would appreciate it if you could take a moment and leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us and helps us reach a wider audience. If you leave us a 5-star review, it would mean the world to us. Not only does it help us improve the podcast, but it also helps us attract more sponsors and grow our community. Thank you again for your support and for listening to the Productivity Smarts podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to Productivity Smarts, where we help you achieve your goals and live your best life. We hope you've gained valuable insights and actionable strategies to boost your productivity and increase your happiness and fulfillment. Remember to apply what you've learned and keep striving towards your goals. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more inspiring episodes and expert advice from our host, Gerald J. Leonard. Until next time, keep pushing forward and unleashing your productivity smarts.